All right, Sean Zittel here with undefeated middleweight. Of course, you guys know him, Nico Ali Walsh, of course, the grandson of Muhammad Ali, but undefeated through 9 fights in his own right. Returning to the ring, being pretty active. Just fought on the Haney Lomachenko pay-per-view undercard, and now he's back August 26th, Saturday from Tulsa, Oklahoma on ESPN Plus. Nico Ali Walsh, what's going on, man? How's everything going?
Everything's going great. I'm, looking forward to fight week. That is the easiest week of camp.
Now, I get it. I get it. Yeah, that's all the hard work's done at that point, right?
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be over with.
Well, while we were BSing a little bit before the interview, got wind that you've had some great championship level sparring heading into this camp with Chris Eubank Jr. and Caleb Plant. Can you talk about that and how much it's been making you sharper heading into this fight?
I super sharp. Working with those guys is amazing. I get different styles. Chris Eubank has a far different style than Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's the most talented guy I've shared the ring with. So he's very good. I learn a lot from him, and yeah, no, it's an honor to be able to spar with those guys.
Any thoughts on Caleb's incident at the Spence Crawford weigh-in there, where he got off a shot and then got his head off the line immediately? But yeah, what'd you think?
I mean, it's shocking how accurate that was. I mean, like when I first saw the video, he actually slapped him. He actually, it was a clean slap. So, I didn't know the full story. Now I know more of the full story. Just, it's that kind of stuff happens. So, it's interesting.
All jokes aside, though, he fought very well in the first half against Benavidez, but the kind of punishment he kind of took in the second half, it makes you, as an observer, say, can this guy come back at 100%? But it sounds like from talking to you, he's still the same Caleb Plant after this Benavidez fight.
Yeah, no. So I've sparred Caleb Plant a few times. I sparred him. I sparred him before his fight with Durrell. I sparred with him before his Benavidez, and I sparred with him now before my fight. So I see he's still the same guy, of course. I didn't like the end of I love David Benavidez. I'm friends with him and his family. So that was a tough fight to watch. I didn't know who to root for. But it was tough to see at the end, Caleb getting touched up more, that kind of stuff. He's definitely not a stranger to taking a punch. So it's not going to deter him in any way or like make him lesser than. He's still like he's about to fight like probably Charlo or something next. Caleb's only going after the big names, so you got to have like a ton of respect for him. He hasn't changed at all.
What have you, stylistically, just improvement wise, gotten the most out of it? Is it on defense? Is it on offense? What's the best what's the most you've gotten out of it?
I would say his ring IQ is great. His ring IQ is great. His poise is awesome. He's able to stay calm and pick his shots very well. So that's the biggest thing I get from sparring him is I get that ring IQ. I get to see what it's like to be in the ring with a top level guy. And yeah, that's something that you can't get sparring just anybody.
Now I know next fight up is Sona Akale, 7-1 record, but looking back to the Danny Rosenberger fight, it winds up a draw. And what's that? What has that felt like for you? That you're still undefeated, but it's the first time you leave the ring without getting your hand raised. How's that been the last couple months?
It was definitely weird. I thought I won. So it was shocking to me, but it's just I chalk it up to a learning experience. I'm not the kind of guy, I'll never be the kind of guy or fighter that complains and whines about spilt milk, like, oh, the judge is this, or oh, they should have done that. Like it's, we're fighting, it happens. It was not my greatest, it's not a performance I would say I'm necessarily happy with. So it's something to learn from. And that's how boxing is.
What do you think was the most to learn from it?
I wasn't myself. I kind of stooped to the level of my competition in that fight, and I like just kind of followed around the ring like kind of like a zombie. Like after the fight, the biggest thing that upset me was that I had so much energy after the fight that I was like, I could have used this, but I played into his game. You know, his idea was to move around the ring and like hold, punch, move. Like that was his thing. He had a lot of experience in doing that. You know, he had almost 4 times my amount of fights.
Mhm.
So, I mean, he knew what he was doing, and that's something I can learn from. And you know, I got the experience, so I'm happy.
I know first things first, the fight on the 26th, but do you want a rematch with Rosenberger at some point?
Um, I don't believe that'll happen, but I'm a competitive guy. Uh, so there's definitely like, I mean, I'm not. I don't feel like there's like unfinished business, or I don't feel like I need to prove or show anything any sort of way. But if he like wants to fight me or something, he can come to Vegas and we can spar and we can set some up. Absolutely, you know. But I don't really believe that a fight a fight would happen. I don't know. I don't think so.
That's crazy. We could still spar, but
No, I mean,
um,
I mean, if like if he's got a problem, like, and he wants, I'm not, you know, like these guys nowadays who call out on social media and you know do everything for hype and do everything for clout. Maybe I should be doing more of that stuff, but I'm not really. That's not my personality. But if he does have a problem with me and he wants to fight, we can spar and we can set up a fight in the gym at any time. But I don't believe, you know, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to talk. It's hard for me to talk on this on the fight. Uh, but yeah, I don't think I don't think so.
is that how you've kind of, is that always been your temperament? Like, you know, as nice a guy as you are, we could fight and we could definitely go outside and just
Yeah, no, I mean, because most people, you know, everybody calls me out on Instagram. Everybody calls me out on Instagram. They, you know, tag me, say, "Hey, Top Rank, let me fight this guy. Hey, let me fight this guy. Let me fight." But it's they only do it for the attention and for the fight, you know. So like if they really want to fight me, like if they're like, hey, I'm better than this guy, you can spar me and then we can see just how much better you think you are. Because you know, every opponent I've had has said to me after the fight, oh, you surprised me and what you were able to do. So, you know, I'm not much for talking, really.
what are your thoughts on Sona Akale? Was 7-0, lost to a veteran Cameron Creel, who's fought a lot of undefeated guys. But
Yeah.
what do you think of your opponent in this fight?
He's he's I know enough about him where we've got the perfect game plan for the fight. I don't think you know, styles make fights. We'll see what kind of guy shows up that night of the fight. You know, sometimes they look different than on film, so I'm prepared for, you know, any kind of fight. I'm excited.
And anything you've done differently to make sure you don't feel like you did after Rosenberger? Like I had a lot more to give that I didn't put into this fight.
Yeah, it's more of a mental thing. Like that was my first 8 round fight. I didn't know, like I have the greatest strength and conditioning trainer, Jamie Belt, and I just didn't know if my body was going to be able to do all this and not get tired, or to do all this and keep going. But it was able to do that, and I went through 8 rounds easily. So I was absolutely shocked, and so moving forward, I know that I can push myself to any sort of extreme I want to because my body will recuperate. Knowing that the condition that I have.
Now, just you know, wanted to get your thoughts on a big one coming up. It was a guy who was in your neighborhood, around your neighborhood, Jermall Charlo. You're
Yeah.
60, he's 54. He's jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. What chances do you give him of winning that fight? He's the underdog.
I don't believe he'll win. But you know, I think it's absolutely amazing that, you know, he's daring to be great. Nobody can knock that. I have nothing but respect for him. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters, so you're not really going to hear me go against Canelo. But this is one of Canelo's last few fights, I believe. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm definitely going to be tuning into that one.
You think we get a rejuvenated Canelo? He's slowed down the last 3 fights, but you think he finds a way to summon up, that old Canelo magic?
Absolutely. And like I said, styles make fights. So, you could fight, you could be in your prime and fight someone who's not necessarily stylistic for you and you won't look as well. But we'll see. I think stylistically, Charlo, he's a come forward kind of guy. I don't know if he will be for this fight, but if he is, it'll make for a firefight. And that'll work in Canelo's advantage. So we'll see. I think we will see a better Canelo, I would say.
Awesome, man. And before I let you go, I got to take advantage while I got you, man. Any Ali footage you've been watching lately? That guy Muhammad Ali that fought that pretty good heavyweight.
I've heard of him. He's one of my favorite fighters, actually.
Me too. I love him.
Yeah, no, I at the start of this camp, I was watching him, and I never really watched his footage really, but I was watching him at the start of this camp. I was watching his fight with Cleveland Williams. I was watching some of his sparring just to see like how he would work in sparring. So it's fun watching him. It's more nostalgic than anything. I try not to. I can't take away anything from him because it's he did things that I can't do at this point in my career. So, but he's awesome to watch.
Was Cleveland Williams the guy with the high guard and Muhammad? He shuffled in and out and then ended him with like this beautiful combination.
Yes, right? Yes.
He did that to a couple of guys, so I could have been.
That to a couple of guys, but I knew, Cleveland Williams was one of his greatest performances. So you definitely got the fight right. Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to the best gifts God's ever given into a boxing ring, reflexes and hand speed, are we talking your grandfather, Floyd, Roy? What do you think is the list? The guys that are right there with your grandpops before the Vietnam stuff when he was at the peak of his athleticism. Yeah. Who do you think is on his tier?
I think when it comes to there's so many different levels of looking at. There's speed, there's power, there's ring IQ, there's reflex. Roy Jones is up there. Floyd is up there. Floyd is for defense, of course, but Roy is up there. Floyd is up there. You got guys like Pernell Whitaker, who's got that just weird style that just works for him. I would say when it comes to power, I've got to respect people who have tremendous power. I believe Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitting puncher in boxing history. So I love watching people with power.
Fast too.
Yeah, and so, but when it comes to people who are like my grandfather, no one, in my opinion. But everyone has their own lane. There's so many greats.
Thank you, Nico. Good luck to you August 26th, man. Always great catching up with you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.